Hello and welcome to CGG TV. My name's Sue Irra and I'm here with Godfrey Simpson and Jackie Cook from the Bundiyarra Wangga Language Centre. Now, maybe some of you don't even know where the Language Centre is. Well, if you don't, it's opposite the racecourse on Eastwood Road. So we're here to tell you a little bit about what goes on there, and I will hand you over to Godfrey to talk a little bit about his involvement in the Language Centre.
Hi everyone, my name's Godfrey, as Sue's mentioned. I've been involved with the Language Centre for the last 27 years, I think, thereabout. If we remained in one building, I'd definitely be part of the furniture there. But I've been involved with, I think there was 4 or 5 different language centres throughout the years. We're now based permanently down at Bundiyarra on Eastwood Road near the racecourse. And yeah, I've just had a love for languages, not only my languages. I studied Indonesian in high school. I still speak Indonesian. Open to learning new languages and, other than Australian languages. Plus, I'd love to learn more Australian languages also.
How many do you study now, Godfrey, through the Language Centre? How many are there?
There's 7 we care for, maintain, throughout the Murchison Gascoyne, from Carnarvon into Meekatharra, then back down to Geraldton. Here's the Willenyu language. Just up near the Bowes River is the natural border, which crosses over into Nunda. And then you go further, I think it's past the Murchison River, up past Murchison House, I believe, or a bit further. You come into Mulgana country where Shark Bay is. And then from Mulgana country you get into Irra country, which is Carnarvon. And then we take the languages inland. There's Wangga, Wangga, back towards Meekatharra. Wajarri is quite prominent. It's the most spoken language. Therefore, hence it being taught throughout the entire Murchison Gascoyne region, except Carnarvon. They do teach Irra there. It's taught here in Willenyu country and over in Malawar, Yalgu, Mount Magnet. That's Bundiyarra country, and that goes from Mount Magnet as far south as Dalwallinu, so the entire Moore Lake region. And yeah.
And Jackie, you're a linguist with the Language Centre.
That's correct.
What does a linguist do?
It's a good question, Sue. People are usually quite confused by what linguists do. There's quite a variety of things that different linguists in different positions do. At the Language Centre, being a linguist is about sort of being able to interpret some of the research that's been done on our languages to then contribute to community projects. So at the moment we've been working on an updated version of the Wajarri dictionary. So Godfrey's been helping us with that. We've been doing lots of audio recording and just making sure that all of the little details about grammar and stuff is clear so that people can understand it when they pick up the dictionary. They know what they're reading about, and sort of checking through all that kind of stuff. We also work on book projects, like not just dictionaries, like storybooks and stuff, and yeah, just sort of supporting the community to work on their languages. So this is the old version of the Wajarri dictionary, and we're working on a updated one, which will be nice and exciting when it comes out, hopefully around the middle of the year.
And Godfrey, can you tell us a little bit about your journey of coming into this and learning language, and sort of where you got started, what interested you, what inspires you?
Well, I was born Aboriginal, obviously, from a Wajarri father and a Bundiyarra mother. Now, geographically, you know where that is now, after my first intro, part of my intro. And my grandparents, my father's parents, I spent a lot of time with those grandparents out at New Forest Station, Yellow Station. I learnt to walk. I crawled and walked out there. Being with my grandparents and their peers, there was constant language. All I heard was Wajarri, Wangga, Wajarri language. So by the time I was at least 3 or 4, I think it had already been, the blueprint was there. And as we grew, the people, my peers, my cousins my age, they all sort of drifted off throughout the years, and I noticed I was the only one who was still there, willing to be told off and growled at, and because that's a lot of the
Did
teaching.
you get a few tellings off?
Oh, lots of telling offs. The others didn't like being told off, so that's where we differed, and they went their own way and started, just being kids, I guess. I was the weird one. I stayed and I listened and listened and listened and listened and listened.
And we're very grateful you did.
And
it sure has paid off.
And yeah, I'm grateful too now, I think, after all the years of working with the Language Centre and all the work I've helped to contributed to over the years, guided by the elders, always guided by the elders. I will not move forward without the elders. And I mean, it's so cliche with Aboriginal communities throughout the world. You don't, the elders are there. They have to be.
Yeah. But
And
you've also had, more Western education as well. You went to Guildford Grammar School.
Yeah, in 1989 I went down to Perth. 1990 to 94 I went to boarding school, Guildford Grammar, when it was private school, now co-ed.
And how was that for you?
It was culture shock. It was a very big culture shock. I wanted to run away, but I was taught to stick to it. Everything that I was taught by my parents and grandparents was don't walk, never be afraid of anything, whether it's from this realm or the other realm, those of you spiritual ones out there, and just life in general, and just take things as they come and roll with the punches. And that's basically what I've done my entire life.
And it's paid off for you?
And it's paid off. I like to think it has. I just sing the old people's praises, because if it wasn't for our elders, my elders, your elders, all the elders throughout the world, none of us would be here. They paved the way throughout this entire world, and we have to keep the torch burning and carry it and pass it on. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'll pass it on one day.
You're doing it well. You're doing it well.
Thank you.
And Jackie, what do you enjoy about being a linguist and working at the Language Centre?
I guess the nicest thing about working in a language centre as opposed to sort of a university, more traditional research environment is being able to work directly with people like Godfrey. Not to say that people at universities don't, because a lot of them do go out to communities as well, but here we're situated with the community, and everything that we do is directly involved with what the community want to do, or communities, I should say. We've got lots of communities here. So, we don't have our own projects that we then go and ask people like Godfrey about. Godfrey comes to us and says, here's something we need to do, or, we say, oh, well, what do you guys want to work on? And so that's how we come to these dictionary projects. That's how we come to book projects, like one that we're working on for Bundiyarra at the moment with a speaker up there. It's all very much driven by the people that we're working with, which I think is the most rewarding thing about working in this environment.
And the community in general. So to elaborate on what Jackie's saying, as an Aboriginal community, there's myself and a number of other Aboriginal language workers. We then take the thoughts of the Language Centre out to the community. It will then go through a community meeting. We have at least 3 or 4 of those a year, where the entire Wajarri Nation comes to Jordan and has a meeting, a 1 day or a 2 day meeting, and then that's put through the mill there, if you like, and then what the community decides there, we'll take back to the Language Centre, and that's how a lot of our work's been done.
And the Language Centre also produces a lot of resources for teaching, and a lot of it has been introduced into schools. Jackie, have you had much to do with the resource?
So the wonderful thing about the Language Centre is we've got very well trained people like Godfrey. There's a few other language workers who work with us who are trained teachers as well. And so mostly I leave the resource development up to them. They've got the better training for that kind of stuff. So if there's any sort of technical questions about grammar things that we need to read into, I sort of help out with that. But mostly they don't need me. They got all the knowledge.
I leave all the resources to them too. Leanne Merritt was a good artist. Nadine Taylor, my auntie.
And Edie Ma.
Nana Edie. Sorry, I felt bad. My auntie Nadine Taylor, Nana Edie Ma, Rosalie. They do a great work, great job.
They do.
And others that have come through over the years. We've got young Zartina there, my niece there now, Hawkins. She's doing a good job.
She is, isn't she?
Yeah. Come a long way, that girl.
And Jackie, would you like to talk a little bit about the Wangga project that
Sure.
unfortunately, due to this pandemic, has
COVID-19
been put off and put off?
Yeah, so we were actually supposed to be going out on this big sort of 2-week on-country trip in sort of a week or so, but obviously that's not going to happen till later in the year till we're cleared for health stuff. But with Bundiyarra, there's a fabulous old man in his 80s who's working with us. He's very excited about language. He's come down and had chats with Godfrey as well. And so he's really excited to put together a book in his language and to teach his family about his language. And so the idea of the trip is that it does all of those things. And so we've invited a lot of researchers along as well. So there'll be, you know, people who are looking into the plants, people who are looking into sort of mapping the territory, people who are looking at the cultural information, you know, myself and Rosie, who also works at the Language Centre, looking into language. So it'll be a very sort of lots of perspectives that we're trying to collect, and his family will be there as well. And so the idea is that we're all doing our research at the same time, and he's able to teach his family through this on-country trip where we go around and he tells stories about this site and shows us the plants and the animals. And
So could you tell them where roughly Wangga country is, geographically? Along the Lions,
Lions River. It's all pastoral stations up there. There's not a town site on Bundiyarra country. But yeah, it's along the
Kumarina Roadhouse come back in to Carnarvon, Mount Augusta, between Mount Augusta and Kumarina Roadhouse.
Yeah, see, Godfrey's much better at the geography than I am. This is why I can't work by myself. Get lost.
We bounce off each other.
And there's also going to be artists taking part in this, and from this there will be an exhibition of the artists' work that they paint on country, and also in a workshop back in Carnarvon. That will be part of the project, and the book we hope to finish and have that published as well. So there's lots of resources out at Bundiyarra. If people would like to come and have a look and perhaps buy some of the books, there's some beautiful books out there, and just come out and have a chat and find out what happens out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always up
welcome.
for a chat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
Yes. And here's how you can find us.
The website is bundiyarra.com, and the Facebook page
Is Bundiyarra Wangga Language Centre.
And you can email us at language@irawanga.org.au.
or just come out and have a yarn.